So, the post come out of the bag now that it come like the whole of Europe did not sell, did not buy Africans and not capture Africans and turn them in a slave. Because according to the report over here, you know, all Russia involved. I'm scared, I tell you. It come like the whole of Europe. It come like the whole of Europe because all the most, what they call progressive countries in those times was selling, was when I said selling, was using Africans as to build up them riches. People from all Switzerland, Norway, Denmark, Germany. We know about the major one them, we know about the Spaniards, we know about the French, we know about the British and the Portuguese. Them are the main one them, the Spaniards, French, British and Portuguese. But if we go here now, say, Denmark, Switzerland, Sweden, and even Russia, the thousands of trips they make to Africa. Africa no have no friend. You know, John Henry Clark did say it. We have no friends. Because the Arab them come, and then the Europeans them come. And meanwhile, they are concentrate, which we should, upon Britain, because Britain is the main culprit up to this day. Britain and France, main culprits as it relates to taking people out of them land and turning around them land, topsy-turvy them land. But for hear that, all the country them we will see as progressive European countries where, you know, go on like them a angel. Yes, go on like them a angel. Sweden, Switzerland, Denmark, Norway. In them days of Denmark, I think Denmark and Norway was like one entity. Them had plantations in the Caribbean here and was trading Africans to work the plantation to make themselves wealthy in Europe. It have a resolve though, you know. It's going to resolve. Because I saw them things just come out, so just like all the thing bust out, say, England, it still appear money to some of the companies them that were involved in that slavery, reparation money. Because when slavery was so-called abolished, the plantation holders in Jamaica got £20 million to compensate them for the loss of labor. £20 million. And the whole of Jamaica was owned and still owned by Queen Elizabeth. In those days, it wasn't Queen Elizabeth. We are talking about Queen Victoria. Yes, we are talking about Queen Elizabeth too, Queen Elizabeth I. And we see that some of the richest men them that was in England got them wealth from the cane fields of Jamaica. The cane fields of Jamaica. Some of the wealthiest men them, Beckford and all these guys, was wealthy for the slave plantation in Jamaica. And we see that them was still paying money to these people because of loss of labor. Not to mention the Africans that them carry go to England to go build this and build that. Then we have France over that side there. If you go to a place named Bordeaux, I don't even know if I pronounce it, Bordeaux. Somebody can really pardon me if I pronounce it wrong, but you might know what city I'm talking about. When you go there, them show you that a lot of the building them and the streets them was built by African people who was carried there to work those places. Hundreds of thousands and millions of Africans And we keep saying it. But we know, say, we are confident in the victory of good over evil. And it must be rectified. It must be rectified. Always say, go on. No matter what, it must be rectified. And we're confident of that. This is the cutting edge. Yes. Yeah, it's cutting edge. It's not a day program. It's cutting edge. I tell you. Okay, so we go catch your bearings, you know, and play this.
Africans to seek to regain their independence from the colonial masters. Historians will remind us that we were first enslaved, that Africans were taken, and this we seldom say. The first civilization to take Africans out of this continent were the Arabs. And they took Africans from the eastern coast. And it is sad that in that part of the world, there are not many Africans who remained, because it was in the business of the Arab enslaver to castrate Africans. We never say that, but we must say it because it is historically significant. Then the Europeans came, the Portuguese came, the Spaniards came, the Germans came, the French came, the Belgians came. Africa became the hunting ground for the European colonizers, and we were the sport. We built, our ancestors built the United States of America. Our ancestors built Europe. And when slavery had lost its shine and sheen, the Europeans abolished it. But they replaced it with yet another pernicious enterprise, the colonization of Africa. The Europeans sat in Berlin, in Germany, in 1884, and they looked at the map of Africa and puzzled it out. The British had their share. The Germans had their share, and Tanzania or Tanganyika was their share, as was Rwanda and Burundi. The Spaniards were Johnny-come-latelys in the arena, and they got little Equatorial Guinea and Southwest Africa. The French were here, the Portuguese were here, and we were colonized. This time round, they did not take us away. They came here, and they controlled us, and they told us, not in so many words, that we were children of a lesser God. And we were treated as if we were children of a lesser God. In fact, they told us that on the day of creation, we were merely hewers of wood and drawers of water. And if anybody were to doubt it in 1948, it was more blatant when Hendrik Verwoerd instituted the apartheid regime in South Africa. But yet there is a sense in which the God that we worship never sleeps. The colonial enterprise ran its course, and the European tribes, the Europeans never called themselves tribes, they called them nations, were engaged in a war. First in 1918, the European tribes fought. And they had something called the League of Nations, which died. Then they fought again in 1945. And what is unique about the European nations is that when they are engaged in tribal wars, they call them world wars. So there was another war between 1945, 1939 and 1945, And after that, a new kid on the block, the United States of America, took the lead in saying that colonialism was something that was undesirable. But at that time, Africans were never quiet. Those who had been taken out had already started agitating. Many of us here will remember Marcus Garvey, of whom Bob Marley says, Garvey was a buffalo soldier in the heart of America. And many of us will remember W.E.B. Du Bois. Many of us will remember that they started agitating that Africans must regain their dignity and their independence. And indeed, in 1847, in Liberia, a small group of Africans were brought back in Monrovia, and Liberia became the first independent black nation in the continent of Africa. So soon thereafter in Sierra Leone, they also created yet another colony. But Africa was colonized, except Ethiopia, which they tried to take in 1938 and exiled Professor Dr. Haile Selassie. And unfortunately, they were defeated, as you remember, in the Battle of Adwa. Africa can defeat European tribes. This history is necessary that we are able to appreciate the freedom that we gained. So that Garvey came, W.E.B. Du Bois came, but there was another crop after the 1940s who had the advantage of European education. And there were people in Europe also who are beginning to recognize that indeed equality was necessary. And this was not anything new. In 1776 in the United States of America, the American state sitting in Philadelphia in the United States of America declared unto themselves that all men are born equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. A few years later in France, after the revolution, they also recognized that we were to be equal, so that the colonized nations which had now taken Africans thought that they were safe. They had taken Leopold Sédar Senghor from Senegal to Paris, and they thought that they were creating a little Frenchman. Little did they know that they were creating somebody who would want to overthrow them. They took Félix Houphouët-Boigny from Côte d'Ivoire, and they thought that they were creating somebody who would be subservient to them. They took Ahmed Sékou Touré and Modibo Keïta, and they thought they were safe. Little did they know that they were creating the future leaders and agitators against French colonization. And it did not stop there. The Portuguese also took Agostinho Neto and Amilcar Cabral and Eduardo Mondlane to Lisbon. Little did they know that those individuals would be the catalyst that would be necessary in the process of decolonization. The British also had their fair share. They took others. They took Mwalimu Kambarage Nyerere, Hastings Kamuzu Banda, Kenneth David Kaunda, and many others to the United Kingdom, Jomo Kenyatta. Little did they know that those would be the individuals who sometimes later, and in Ghana, of course, they took the Osagyefo, Kwame Nkrumah, and in Nigeria, they took Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, and Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sultan of Sokoto. There is a sense, therefore, in which these individuals started recognizing that having been enslaved, having been colonized, we now had to liberate ourselves. And the agitation started. And Kwame Nkrumah and his Ghana acquired independence in 1957. And I still can hear Kwame Nkrumah through the vicissitudes of time saying in Accra, Ghana, that Ghana is free and will never be colonized again. But the
More than a
freedom
radio
of Ghana
program,
means
it's
nothing
an institution
if
on
the rest
radio.
of Africa is
The
not
cutting edge on
I can
IRIA
hear
FM with
Yes. Lumumba talking, the brethren are laid out, as we do on this program too. You know, it's interesting that him just quote Bob Marley with the tune named Buffalo Soldier. Actually, not Bob Marley write the song, but him sing it, popularize it. But the Native American says to the Buffalo Soldier, how come, when I'm talking to them, how come you fight for the white man when the white man treat you worse than him treat we? The Native American says to the Buffalo Soldier, how come you fight for the white man when the white man treat you worse than him treat we? This is the cutting edge on IRFM.
The Council of Nicaea was an effort by Constantine to control the people through military and through religion. Whoever can control your concept of God has a weapon more powerful than any physical weapon, than any sword, any gun, any atomic weapon. Whoever controls how you relate to the unseen presence of God will not only control you, but can control your children and your children's children. So it was at the Council of Nicaea that the Constantine, this emperor, needed to find a way to consolidate his power, because the people that he conquered in various parts of the world had different religions, different ideologies. And it was at Nicaea where he brought together these theologians, these scholars, if you will, to hammer out one uniform theology that everyone would follow.
And if Constantine could convince people to take Jesus as God on earth and change that he was a human being, then they could take over the control of the Catholic Church and make one. So they invited. And one of the priests was an African known as Arius. Bishop Arius. There's a book called Blacks Who Died for Jesus by Mark Hyman. Gives the story of Arius. Arius now gets word that Constantine knows Arius is coming to dispute this. Because he's saying, how are you going to tell people this? Nobody's going to believe that story. That Immaculate Conception, come on, we know that's written on the walls of Egypt. That's a mythology, that's an analogy. You're not supposed to believe that story. That's a nice story to live by, that each and every one of us has Jesus within us and every birth is an Immaculate Conception. But there wasn't no one boy born as the Son of God to free. Come on, you can't. Constantine said, look, come on over here. Nicaea, I want to talk to you. He found out that he was going to be assassinated. So he fled into Europe with his followers. Arius and his followers became known as the Aryans. Wouldn't Hitler have a heart attack if he knew who the real Aryans were? They were a bunch of black folk.
Everybody who was worshiping ISIS and dealing with mostly a Kemetic religious philosophy, they said, we can't do this. This is ridiculous. This reminds me, there's no man called Jesus Christ. We ain't never heard of him. Well, Jesus Christ will take Jesus, which was the sun god in the West, and we'll take Christos, which was the sun god in the East, and we'll put them together. We'll have a name. And so what did he do? A man named Apollonius of Tyana, at that time, who had studied philosophy in Kemet, was teaching. He was a healer, working miracles. He was a hero at that time. So he became the template for Jesus Christ.
More than a radio program, it's an institution on radio. The cutting edge on IRIA FM.
Politics and religion causing much division. You have to find time to check out your mind. And the two things them know that is crippling the minds of the people is politics and religion. And it don't have to go that way. It don't have to go that way. No, sir, it don't have to go that way there, no. Because politics supposed to be the means and the way in which you govern a people, them social order in a society. Religion is supposed to make people be aware of them divinity as human beings. Make people aware that there's not just flesh, but there's something that make man or woman be man or woman, even above the animals. Religion supposed to unify the spirit of the people into a cohesive force. But what we see now is really what the brethren have said. When we hear the politician come run them, and we have said that about the preacher too. Because the preacher even more guilty than the politician. Sometimes when a man go give up in political ideas and in party, him still hold and maintain him religious perspective. So you find, say, whether I'm a PNP or GLP, him no switch him religious belief and ideas. Because him knows him can carry over one to the other. Him knows if him is at 70, him can still be a PNP or a GLP. So when you look on the society and the system or the tech system set up right now, right now, you find, say, we find them guilty. Guilty. That's where we find them, guilty. And we recognize what is it that is causing the thing to keep going on and on and on and on. Is the traumatic experience that was created hundreds of years ago that still reflect the attitude and the behavior of the people them. And people want to tell us about that gone long time, I must get over that. And don't understand how deep it run and bind us. People say, well, 400 years that, 400 years that. We know, and we're not idiot, we know, say, there's certain things here that is of our own creation. There's certain things here that we could have passed through the storm and don't get blown away if we was having the right consciousness and the right frame of mind. But it lead back to what took place 400 years ago. Still resonate in the minds of the people them. But the people them can't understand that. Because their mind is in the hands of the oppressor. And we repeat it again, that the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. One that resonates in your heart and your thought. The greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And when we look around us today, the mind of the oppressed is not theirs. I don't feel the mind them have. Somebody wash them brains. Somebody wash them brains, man. Put bleach in them brains and wash it. I mean, I talk about the bleach that people put on them face. Them bleach way till we get white. You know when you put bleach on clothes, it get white. White clothes get whiter. As so our brains are click. Our brains are click that our mind is so washed that we can't even recognize ourselves. if we are looking at a mirror, we can't recognize ourselves because when we look at the mirror, I know we that. Because we don't even want to be the man in the mirror. And it's not only with physical appearance that we discussed it with. We discuss it with what in our minds, but we can't help it sometimes. Because the educational system and the religious system, the political system, the social system is not of our making. We are just part of the scheme and the plan. The plan is to keep us subjugated on the plantation or in the house as house slaves. And some of us continue to wash our brains, to wash it, take off all the blackness of it. And when we can't wash our brains anymore, we turn to our face and we wash it, put all toothpaste on it. And then when you find some colored toothpaste, because you have some toothpaste that are red, white, and blue. See, people put all toothpaste on them face. If you wash it, and we go to church, and them we are saying, whiter than snow, Lord, wash my sins and make it whiter than snow. Black people go to church and sing those songs. Though your sins may be like scarlet, but it shall be as white as snow. Everything I'll get washed. Everything I get washed. Them have a mind. And we need to wake up. Because so much people come show us the way. We don't need no more hero. We don't need another hero. I think it's Tina Turner singing that if people just play it too. We don't need no more hero. We have had enough heroes and sheroes in our manifestation as African people to really pinpoint something or something they said or did that can motivate us and carry us through. But we're not listening. We're only hearing, but we're not listening. And sometimes when we listen to the wrong things. The wrong things we listen to. So everybody now get crazy because they make wrong look right. They make wrong look right. I would have no concept of right again. Because even the religion that's supposed to carry us in the right direction is leading us back to this white supremacist mentality. And our brains is so washed. And it reaching out to our face, to our whole body, that our body we don't like again. You look at the woman them now, most of them don't like them body. And them have things to promote that. To make black people accept, say, my body not look good unless me do something that is different to it. My face not look good. My head not look good. My finger them not look good. My toe them not look good. My pay enhance the beauty. And when I fight against enhancement of beauty, because better something look beautiful than ugly. But who is deciding the ugly of yourself? Who is deciding that you are ugly? So you need to enhance the system. The system has decided that. The system is not of your making, but it was handed down through generations of generations, through white supremacy. that create that devastation and that traumatic experience that is continuing in the minds of the people. And some of us go through the keyhole and get where. But we think we get where. If one man is free and the others are not free, no man can truly say that he's free. Because the freedom of one is dependent on the freedom of all. The freedom of one is dependent on the freedom of all. You know, every time we start this tune, we have to start it again. Yes. The wrist beat, we have to play it by the rag speed. Okay, so here we go again. Burning spear, brighten my vision. Serious thing. We need some bright light. When we say light, no, I don't mean the light them when you see on the billboard, them have flash all over Kingston nowadays. Or the bright light them in the club them. Well, bright club no have no bright light, really. But we need some bright light in our third eye. If I hear them talk about your third eye is that eye that makes you see far eye. Far. It's that eye that makes you see far. So we call it the far eye. Most of us can't figure out that eye. That eye is where I and I declare continuously. That eye is the one we have all been waiting for, which is I. I am my ancestor. My ancestor is I. If there was no ancestor, I would not exist as a being right now. And if I never exist, my ancestors would not exist right now. So it's a reciprocation of I and the multiplication of I. If I live, my ancestors live. If my ancestors live, I live. Because it's just I. And we recognize that in the concept of divinity, in spirituality, in the oneness of art. People talk about art. And we bring art in a metaphorically speaking, not as physical art where pump blood, but art where store up energies, store up things. And somebody say your article, or somebody say when you love somebody, you show them the art. But the art is more than blood now, because we've gone now into metaphorical speaking. The art is only to pump blood, but because the art is the center of your blood, the movement of your blood, we give it more than just pumping blood life. We give it energy. So we manifest according to the metaphorically speaking, we manifest love through our art. And we gather that sweetness that makes us human beings from our art, metaphorically speaking. So my ancestor is not just an ancestor that is 600, 700 years ago. I am my ancestor. When you say I, it's the same one you say. So we don't need no more hero. We don't need no more hero. We have enough heroes and sheroes around the place to make this movie manifest itself in a liberation and freedom for not only our physical, social, political order, but for our spiritual, divine, humanity, conscious order. that's supposed to propel us through time and space. Because we not stop move and we not stop travel. We're there forever. That is what it is all about. We're there forever. You kill I today, you can't kill I tomorrow. I three of my poem them I quote since the night start. Three of my poem them I quote since the night started. I don't know if I quote my poem them like wow. Because we realize sometimes when we write certain things, it makes sense to you. After you done write it, and you hear other people say it. You know? Yeah, man. Then, if you can't kill it today, you can't kill it tomorrow. That means you never kill it today. Because there's no life in death or after death. Life cannot die. Life flows continuously, like the first word that was spoken. Don't stop travel. Like light. Light no stop travel. Fastest thing. Faster than sound. Because you have plane now where travel faster than sound. Them still try to figure out light. The energy that African people project for how much years now in all of these traumatic experiences. We shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be here. We should have been a species like the dinosaurs or like the Neanderthals. We shouldn't be here. But guess what? We're there. And them can't get out of the race. Because we are the first human race. Black race. Melanin inclined. God, if you want to call it, however you want, conceptualize it to be. Because we give them all the concept too. And if we do all of them things in a history, and still I do it, why we continue to make them wash our brains? That we pass washing brains and start wash our face. Why we whitened, we black like a breadfruit we burn up on the fire. And when you cut it, it's white inside. And you say, oh, that's possible. Oh, the breadfruit can garner so much fire. And when you look inside it, it's white. Most of us are like the breadfruit, burnt and scorched with the hottest fire. Sunra. Yet still, when you open and look inside and you hear where we come out of where you know, say, wow. You mean, say, after all of that fire, you're still white? After all of that blackness we show outside, me open you up and looking at you and you're still white? We have to wake up. We have to wake up.
Here's the reality. The image of a white Jesus has been used to justify enslavement, conquest, colonialism, the genocide of indigenous peoples. There are literally millions of human beings whose lives have been snuffed out by people who conquered under the banner of a white god. That is a far more significant problem than whether a black writer in 2013 suggests somewhat humorously, but perhaps seriously, that we should change Santa to a penguin. No one's going to die because of that iconography. The white Jesus, white God imagery has literally resulted in death. That's something folks ought to deal with. What Megyn Kelly said was very simply, quote, Santa is white, end of quote, and so is Jesus. So I think the real issue is, if you want to make a joke about Santa's whiteness, here's a way to do it that would not presume white normalcy or that white is the norm. You could say, for instance, and I would, that if there were Santa, he'd have to be white because no black man could break into millions of homes even if he was bearing presents and not be shot by some neighborhood watch captain. That's a way to be funny, but Fox News would never never do that because that would presume that they had to admit racial profiling and racism were real. So there's that. I think the real issue is that she made a statement of fact, not for her own opinion, but fact. There's a difference between believing in Santa and believing in Jesus or the Buddha. Buddha did not come from Kansas. Jesus was not born in a manger in central Pennsylvania. He was a man of color, and the fact that we have represented him for centuries, literally as a white man, speaks to the entire history of white supremacy. We can act like it didn't happen. We can make it the punchline of a joke, but the reality is this iconography, Jesus more so than Santa, I agree with Mel here, Jesus more so than Santa is a real problem. There's a reason we've represented these icons as white. It's not a coincidence that we've done that.
Okay, do you think there's something inherently wrong? I understand you saying that a white Jesus has been used to do horrible things, but
here's the difference, and Reza is right. No, Reza's right, but the difference is that the power of others to make Jesus or to make Christ as they view him has never come close to the power of the European power to make Jesus white. In other words, black folks can think Jesus is black and view Christ as black, but at the end of the day, the image that has been used to dominate Christianity in this world and on this planet is the white image. So therefore, you can believe, you can think Jesus looks like whatever you want or that Christ looks like whatever you want. Ultimately, though, there is such a thing as power, and it's not equitable. And so if certain people have been able to impose their image of the Christ, of the Savior on others, or God, or Adam and Eve, the first human beings ostensibly as white people, to believe that that doesn't have an effect is to believe that advertising doesn't have an effect. It's to believe that companies that spend billions of dollars don't actually sell you stuff based on the images they use, which is nonsense.
Yes, and how much time you hear black people say Jesus not have no color. In other words, color not important. yeah. If color never important, we wouldn't be in this problem, you know, we'll find ourselves in a black power is recognized as power to decide the African people's them political, social order, spiritual order. But we don't have that. We can't feed ourselves. Well, here, especially in Jamaica, others have to feed. The more we import, more than we export. That is a big problem. But guess what? It now stay so a while. If you attack this way you know, and it look like, well, Muta, you attack for long now. The people them now wake up. Me not feel so like you, because me don't feel so like you. I just done this and go sit down and hug up my wife. And go start travel all over the world. We know, say, things not static. It's not static. Something is moving. But it's moving very slow. When the man said the mill a grind slow. Here we go. You want to see them man perform, man. You want to see them man perform. Open the whole heap of them African artists. When I talk about the one them you know where Afrobeat dancehall rhythm. We talk about reggae music. Yeah, you hear the man play reggae music, man. You know, say the connection there. Not the connection though they Afrobeat, but we talk about now. For those of us who know, say, the reggae music put Jamaica up on top. You understand? It set the pace for awakening people out the road there. When you have a festival where 4 days pure reggae and a pure African artists, except for 2 Jamaican artists on it, including myself. But can you imagine you just hear reggae from Ethiopia, reggae from South Africa, reggae from Ghana, reggae from Nigeria, reggae from the Congo, you know, just reggae. And when you hear the man them play it, man, I tell you, man, hands. We're not in a reggae again. You know, your most tune come out and don't have no hands tonight. Hands and syncopations and bridge and all that thing they make music. This is the Cutting Edge on IRFM. The time is 12 o'clock. Yes, we're there with you, so we are carrying through the PSAs. This is how we know if we do it. When we have the microphone in front of our face. Reaching out to the minds of the people, especially African people. Wake up. Yes. As we've been saying from the program start, we don't need no more hero. We don't need no more hero. We have enough heroes and sheroes all over the place. It's surface with another million year. Yeah. We don't need no more hero, man. What we are doing so much hero when they done lay down already. Everything's set out for it. All we have to do is just move forward and make them stop. Wash your brains. Make them stop wash your brains and extend it now for wash your face. White as snow. You have a gospel song where a white man write. Is a man who used to have him ship them a send to and fro from Africa to this part of the world. And him get converted, according to him, to Christianity. So he write a song named Amazing Grace. All the people don't know, says a white man write that song, Amazing Grace. The problem with it is that the man writing the song for really make him feel good about himself and feel better about himself and that him has been converted to Christianity, even though him conversion never made no difference with the business that he was in, which was the transportation of Africans from Africa to this part of the world. So one of the lines going in the song, that Amazing Grace, which is the grace of the Lord, according to them, save a rich like him. Like him, I gotta say him, not me. Black people stand up in a church and I sing that song like it's them songs, for them song. Oh, it's unbelievable that black people stand up and say Amazing Grace and then them say that save a rich like me. And so it go for many other things where black people put themselves in and I know them it attack to. Whole heap of things we can quote so much things where black people take on to themselves where how it come to that, or we reach us, or why we are regurgitate the things them that was not meant for us. Paul write a letter to the Corinthians, to the Romans, to the Ephesians, to the Galatians, and we are read like it's our letter. Like it's our letter them. How it become our letter? The Gentiles were the Greeks. Man, I write letter to the Romans and we take it up and I fart in the people them letter. You don't like somebody farting in your letter? Take your faith out of the man letter. Because he might try convert some people in Europe. But black people said, but we need conversion, so I better read Paul. Who's this guy that take over the whole idea? Christianity. And now our black people follow him. Because there's more words of Paul than the words of the man who everybody claims they come to save them from save a rich like that. Oh, great no heart, eh? Oh, we acclaim that a man going to save we. We don't need no more hero. We don't need no more hero. We have enough. Why we keep closing our eyes And the more we close our eyes, the more our brains eat out. And the more we close our eyes, the more we land, slip from off under our foot. How long it will take way to stop wash our brains? Because the man who enslaved we do every day round way, for we say see him there. Because it's so deep in our consciousness that him do have to make himself physically here with us for we carry out what is it that he need us to carry out as it relates to our political, social, religious, spiritual order. It just sinking away. You know, it come like some dog where you train or some animal where like some dog, like a dog, donkey or ass. You used to tie them up on a tree. And for years you tie them up on a tree there. And you take off the rope off of them neck and not tie them on the tree. But them still stand up there like them get tied on the tree. So the rope, they will have to dead there for him maintain that position. And that is how them have African people. It's like we tie up on a tree and then take the rope off away. And we still stand up on the tree. Like we can't move. And that you call trained brainwashing. And then you have some who go like them better than the tree than the one who set up at the tree without any rope around them neck. Then put on jacket and tie. Jacket and tie. So the tie now become what's supposed to be around your neck. There's no more the rope type of the tree now, but you voluntarily, is part of this. I take the rope around your neck, and you half of your neck, and you still stand up there wait, where you wait pan. Move. But guess what? I'm not there again. I'm not there. You don't see him, so where you afraid of? Nobody now lick you over your back with whip. But it's so deep that it will penetrate your mind. So the man said the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressors is the mind of the oppressed. And then put images and symbols in front of you. And you have to obey those images and those symbols. Because that is what control your mind. Images. Them say a picture is worth a thousand words. So you can imagine what a video. If a picture is 1,000 words, you can just imagine what a video do to your consciousness. Sometimes a picture is more evidence than a man saying it. Them says, you say it, I don't have to believe it. Show me the evidence. That is why so much thing I bust out, you know. Because WhatsApp, what's is, and what them call them, Instagram, and all of the little different social media, them a bust out things out there where you gotta just hear about it. Why you want to see me, you see a man do this down the road and that a man do that, I don't know, a man just show it. Show it and say, see it there. You can lie me, I tell. So here's a can't carry, you got court. You have to get evidence. Black people get lost in the hearsay. And because I read it, yes, so that's how it go. We can't realize we have to go further than that now. We have to go further than that. This is the cutting edge. And IRFM. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
When the white men first came here from over the seas, he looked at his
You know, me have to stop that tune a little. Me have to stop that tune a little, you know, believe you me. Yo.
Master teacher, what?
Wait, hold on. Oh, me not hear you. Hold on.
You not hear me?
Eh?
You not hear me?
Me hear you know, Jesse Gender, what you know?
Master teacher, what?
Jesse Gender, how much years now? Tell me.
Eh?
How much years now me not hear from you, by the way? From Mr. Young days, me not hear from you again, you know?
No, man, I Chad, man, which Mr. Young, man.
Chad, yeah.
About 6 years, man.
Eh?
About 6 years.
6 years, me not hear you. So you don't even know nothing about the cut stepping razor then?
No, me out in the east side now. Me and my brother in a Billa.
Me think you're there at New York still, man.
No, man, I was not talking about, man.
I mean, when I talk about the last time I don't see no New York, I see your brethren.
No, brother, you know, I knew not me there in a Cali there, you know, some...
In a way?
In a Cali, man, northern Cali, man, where in medical there.
Oh.
So what go on, man?
Well, I'm there, I do the work still, you know. When I ease up, just that I do it.
The master teacher, man. I didn't name that, you know.
Eh? You know, it's about 2 years ago, a man asked me, why I'm to Jesse Gender. Oh, them not hear Jesse Gender call, because it... You just...
Well, right now, as I say, you know, but I and everywhere I go, the races, them, I see them question them ask, so them now you're right on the edge of me. I say, all right, this is when you're right.
You're going to treat them tonight.
Yeah, we're up on the rock, you know, so, you know, we have to call the edge.
Oh, you mean?
Well, first of all, more, you go and pick up the gorilla for me here. You have some next virgin that make me know, say, yo, you're in the gorilla family, no matter what, you know, so when you call the edge, you want to big him up. So we big up the gorilla here, sir.
Okay.
See, sir?
Which one of the gorilla that me talk about, though?
One gorilla will be in my place, brother. We're big up Barry Savant.
Yeah.
And we're going to big up Sly and Robbie. We're big up some warrior we love when I call the edge. You see?
All right, sir.
So we're going to big them up. You saw me as the blood?
Yeah.
Yeah, and big up all the Kushites, them. The ancient Kush.
Of course.
Where I can't talk the old thing, then we have to talk some brand new things. And do you remember the boy who cut off Hannibal head in a room?
Talk, man. I get a chance to talk.
Yeah, but we know you know, man. No speculous, publicus, Cornelius, Africanus. So, master teacher, you tell us, you know, the Caucasian have so much suppression and down pressure in area. Name the item of Push, the ancient Push, Landers Push, of the Italian general who cut off Hannibal head, junk him with the red wine and cut off his head, roll it down the street or row. What manner of people are these people? How them so skilled? How them so brilliant? To do all these things. Come here, I talk about the confusion, you know, brother. Big up all of my brothers in the gather and I circle where I say, yo, you have to call the edge tonight. Big up all of the man.
So you did listen from the beginning? You did listen to the program from the beginning?
I don't must listen to the program. I listen to the program from my aunt, yeah. I listen I hear about a month and a half now, all the commercial them.
Okay.
So I come from, what I say now, my brother. I going to be subtle and sweet as icicle. What I say. How them to name the itinerant of Kush of the Italian general were cut off Hannibal head and roll it down the street or road. For all the races. Spiculus, Publicus, Cornelius, Africa, Nus. If you move the Nus, you get Africa. That's why the Caucasian in South Africa say they are Afrikaans. And you can't tell them no. Because they know the history of how it goes. You see where I come from, brother? Yeah. And I love the motherland so much. Eh? They want to just say land of Kush then.
Well, the original name is Al-Kabulan, you know.
But you know that was the Muslim them gate and the master.
No, no.
One to Kush.
No, when I say the original name was Al-Kabulan, I know the Arab them gate and
Al-Kabulan is an Arab term. Just dig again. from the learn to the learn. Think again. Ancient Kush is the oldest name. That's where I come from, brother. So what I and I say now, why I have to follow for them term? Why I and I can't say Peter or Netta for the Mosai instead of G.O.D.? Remember, you know, when I and I are born white, God have a...
No, we're past the God stage now still.
Eh?
We're past the God stage, man.
Yeah, but you don't know.
Well, yeah, but a man still out there with it still, but we're past the God stage.
But most depend it.
Yeah, most ones still depend it. Most ones still depend it.
In this judgment.
Yeah.
Brother, I and I go dig with a Ethiopian PhD and him wife a PhD. And them have them youth them as lawyers and doctors.
Yeah.
And the word Zion come up. And the mother start give it to the daughter. The I and I in our works about the word. And the Abba, what them call father. You know, father is a Catholic priest. The Abba come off of the third floor and one live up there. And come to the second floor. And said, but Empress, the young man from Jamaica is not wrong. Because in the University of Addis Ababa, the word is Sion. And it started at T. And the T was silent. No, brother, when I got high school, we start getting English, them whole heap of props, you know. They were philosophy, psychology, silent letters, not realizing that the land of Kush are the silent letters for thousands of years, while the English, I came and said British, because Brit is a Africa, Afro-Raska man. The man named Brit, like I see the eyes. The English was King Brit from the motherland. I saw them get Britain and British. Because all of England was Kush monarch. For them, I'm not use the word black knight because that's an English term. So I said, brother, so what I say now, Sion, because in Ethiopia, S-I is not Psi. So he couldn't go to Zai. That's why the Spanish them said Si. Yes.
Yeah, but why you don't want to maintain that word? For what purpose you don't maintain that word there?
Because the word was true to the Ethiopian.
No, even in I talk about in Ethiopia, because even Ethiopia is a Greek thing. But when I say, why would you want to entertain the word, whether it's Tian or Zion? Why would you want to entertain that word?
No, but Tian equals to the universe, and it equals to Haile Selassie the first.
No.
E-S-I-O-N. The word was there.
Which is the word where them called Zion now.
The Roman come in now.
No.
Change the word.
All right. So the thing where hold on there, Jesse. Hold on there.
Yeah.
You are saying it's not Zion, it's Tian in Ethiopia. Yeah, when I ask you know, what is Tian in Ethiopia? What is it referring to?
Center of the universe equal Haile Selassie first. That's how the University of Addis Ababa.
No, listen, no, you know, we're not talking about from a Rasta perspective, you know, we're talking about from the Ethiopian them perspective.
I just gave it to the eye brother.
No, but that means it's a different word from Zion then. It's not the same word you translate.
But what I'm saying is, when the peace of family.
No, we're going a piece of family. We are talking about the word of Zion and Tian.
Them write the New Testament, brother.
No, wait, Brethren. Hold on, man.
Yes, brother.
We're not talking about peace of, you know, peace of them. We know about the peace of family. We are talking about the two words where you just says not. I remember a while ago you say Africanos, right? All right. And they will move down the line now. So you started to say Zion, and the word is not Zion. The word in Ethiopia is Tian. No, we don't talk Amharic, you know. Because you still talk English to me. So what I say now, what I ask you now is that the word in Ethiopia where you just mentioned.
Tian.
In Ethiopia, you know, not in the Rasta thinking. In
Ethiopia.
What it mean? What it relating to, the word?
I'm going to say it for the third time.
No, me hear what you say, but it's not true. It's not true you talk. It's not true.
Well, it's not true.
Yeah, because when them say Zion in Ethiopia, them talking about the city of the great king, King David. In Jerusalem.
But there wasn't even no King David. Them think there's
no, me never say them. No, me not debate if there was or there wasn't. You know, me I say in Ethiopia, that is where them related to. Me not talk about where we come find out now.
But that in Ethiopia is the domination of the Romans.
But is that me I tell you? Is that me I say no? Me never watch out. We come find out certain things now, so we can't even boast about it now. So this we find out. What me I say now? In Ethiopia, as Ethiopia is, then and now, Zion, the city of the great king, is referring to King David in Jerusalem. That is what I refer to. So we don't want to turn it around and say Zion now is the center of the universe, is Haile Selassie. That not happening in Ethiopia, not no gospel in Ethiopia. And we now consider
the opportunity, because you can do it. Call the University of Addis Ababa, check all who deal with those things, anthropologists, historians, and then...
Me not have to check it, yes, Bridget. It's in the Bible in Ethiopia. It's in the Bible in Ethiopia. It's in the Ethiopian Bible. The Ethiopian Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Genesis to Revelation, is the same thing like King James Bible. If it were, if it write in a Giza, which is an old language, you wouldn't see the word Zion in there. Now you'd have to Tian in there neither. When I say to you now, if you are translate the word from Zion to Tian now, and start to tell me, say, in Ethiopia, this is what the word mean. May I tell you, say...
No, I'm not tell you what the word mean. I talk about the original word that was changed by the Romans, man.
No, but not the Roman changed it to Zion.
Then, right now, listen, brother, listen, we're not... in no wallpaper like the back and front.
Yeah, but you know, so me back and front for years now.
In Rome, all right.
For years, me back and front. For years.
All right, in Rome, Italy.
Yeah.
Zion is a boys' club. And that's a fact. Google it right now. You have your...
No, but we can't say gay. We can't say gay mean happy too. We can't say when you're gay is happy, you're happy. Like when Dennis Brown sing, acting like a child so young and gay. I'm not saying he's a homosexual.
But that's an English term.
Then that may I show you. It's that may I show you. Say,
it's an English term.
No.
We not use that. We never use that.
We never use what?
Gay in the motherland. We never use that. That's an English term.
But English, we never use the words and what you use now, we never use it in the motherland either. Because you talk English said we here. It's just that you are configure the language to make it more acceptable to your Rasta thinking.
No, brother.
Yeah, man, you know that you do, man. You make the word become Rasta thinking. So anything will sound English, which is still a talk, like I say brother. If I say brother, it's English.
I'm wrong when I talk about Spiculus publicus, Africanus. I know they name the...
No, I look here. We know say all Jesus.
Africa.
No, we know all Jesus never exists neither.
What was that?
We say we know say Jesus never exists neither. Yeah, but we're not talking about that. We are say that all we are here now and all we are say. We still a debate on the word where you say about Zion. You see, it good for, watch out. You see, the good thing about Rastafari to me is that we don't use for them logics. Our logics define we. That is the great thing about Rasta, you know. But if you're going to define we, you just define we. But you cannot say Ethiopia, because Ethiopia, most Ethiopian don't see Emperor Selassie how we see him. Most Ethiopian. So the Ethiopian context of religion and thing is not centered around Haile Selassie. It's centered around Jesus Christus. And Jesus Christus is still Greek.
Ethiopia fight against the king, you know. We know what that's doing. It's not all, you know.
Yeah, but you make it sound like, no, you make it sound like Ethiopia is the center of all these things. When I make it become the center, I are the center, I know Ethiopia the center, I are the center. So when I say Zion, it's because I am embedded into some Judeo-Christian mindset.
And it's not the original word.
Yeah, and I am saying to you, even if you get the original word, it don't contextualize where I as a Rasta deal with. It don't have nothing to do with I.
So that word will start with a T, with a silent T. and the Sian, it is true to the foundation of the Ethiopian.
Yeah, but Ethiopian, which Ethiopian you talk? Which Ethiopian you talk about?
Not fully Ethiopian, man, Addis Ababa.
But that me I try to show you now, say that don't have nothing to do with me as a Rasta. Or we are trying to contextualize Ethiopia now for make say, why true we don't want this and no want that. Africa, or if you don't want to call it Africa, Al-Kabul, and if you don't want to call it, that you call it whatsoever you want to call it. When I say to you now, say, the Rastafari concept and logics is not defined in an Ethiopian perspective because the Ethiopian them still don't understand where Rasta say. The Ethiopian them still fight against Haile Selassie. The Ethiopian them still talk about them are Israelite and them are Jew.
Why is that? No, because of the same.
Then that me I say so how we come now.
Ethiopia never did colonialize physically, but mentally did.
Them no mentally colonize because them still have the argument about Zion, Israel. Them are look for Israel for go to Israel for justify them existence, and them still talk about Solomon and Sheba. When Ethiopia far gone past Solomon and Sheba, and them still validate them existence through Solomon and Sheba. So I can't talk now about Ethiopia like say Ethiopia is the ultimate of my consciousness. My consciousness is embedded in Rastafari, which is a total different logic from where the Ethiopian them, where the Greeks, where the Roman them are used. Because Kemetic understanding come up to the full now. The ancient Kushite understanding come up to the full. Long before Ethiopia, long before Addis Ababa, long before Rome, long before Vatican City.
And I must say, Ethiopia is still a derogatory word because it's Greek.
Yeah, so we say Ethiopia because we feel more comfortable now to put hype on it and say Ethiopia.
Yeah,
but you can't go say no Ethiopia related to it.
These modern words will show you off. They come like the three sister pyramids.
Yeah, I agree with you.
They don't want to say it's the pyramid of Khufu. Them say Cheops. Them say Abydos. Them come up with all kind of names.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you.
It's Khufu.
I agree with you. Say a whole heap of the words over where you. That's why Rasta change them round and change them up and change them crossways and sideways. For figure out the thing where we are dealing with now, it make more sense if you say down presser than oppressor. It make more sense if you say I than God. You know, it just make more sense.
But next thing I say, brother, when you Google that word that we love to use so much.
Which one?
It's CM Zion.
Yeah.
In Rome right now. It is a boys' club. It is a boys' club.
Yeah, but when you go to Jerusalem, when you go to Jerusalem, it is a city of the great king. When you go to Jerusalem in Israel, in Palestine, or whatever they want to call it, it don't mean a boys' club. Zion in Jerusalem don't mean a boys' club. Just like gay will be used somewhere else, and gay mean homosexual, and gay mean when you're happy. It's just the dynamics of words. It don't change. Just like how people say Jesus black and Jesus white. It don't make no difference if him black or him white within the consciousness. Because if you have the same thinking about Jesus white man and put him on Jesus a black man, it don't make no sense. So if you say Jesus, the Ethiopian them say yes to Christos.
From the Caucasian hero, you know. When he take over Kemet, him war the whole Cushitic dynasty to make him the Christ. You saw where I come from?
Yeah, we understand that. We understand that.
Where I come from. But remember, is Rasta come fight that. And I hear you say, is reggae put Jamaica on top. And the gorilla chant that from a long time too, so we have to dig him up again because we hear you chant that earlier. It's not coke or cocaine or crack or wine.
You know that we say? You know that we say?
It's where I come from.
You know that we say? We don't stop say that.
So I want the races them to know, say certain words that colonialize this spear, we have to find a way to leave it alone.
Well, it's that we are doing over the years. It's that we are doing over the years, you know. That's why all the Babylon word, we stop talking about Babylon.
No, you see, that's why I'm a master teacher, because you know, you just and now say you lick the nail on the head. Babylon, pronounce Babylon in ancient Mesopotamia, it's pronounced Babylon.
All right, let me ask you a question.
Master teacher.
Let me ask you a question. When you say Babylon and Babylon, what are you referring to?
The capital city of Mesopotamia.
Yes, that means would you say Babylon wicked?
I can't say that.
All right.
And most I ask them in our world, I go say that because of the translation.
Because of the Judeo-Christian mindset. It's a Judeo-Christian mindset why them say that, So that's why I said to you now, say, when I said, we should have stopped say Babylon are wicked, I now tell you, how much change the meaning of the word, because if you say Babylon are wicked and Babylon are wicked, are the same thing you think. That's so like if you say Jesus.
No, I can't say
I know. I don't talk about you. I'm not talking about you.
And I give the kind in behind it.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about you, I am talking about now, you are configurate the language, but configurate the language and it has the same meaning don't make no sense to me. Just like how one say, he would prefer say Jesus Christus than say Jesus Christ. It don't make no sense.
Well, you're messing now.
Yeah.
That city, capital city of Mesopotamia.
Yeah, Babylon.
Every city in the world is a replica of it.
Yeah.
It is, I don't want to say the light neither, because you see, when you say the light now, Wall Street crash tomorrow, brother. It's a dark day. It's a Black Thursday. It's where I come from. So everything is replica of Babylon, the first city, with street lights, underground sewage, the 27th floor of the ziggurat, with bathroom and flush on the 20th floor and kitchen.
And the swinging gardens. One of the 7 wonders of the world is swinging gardens.
Yes. So now, watch the confusion now, how them translate the Bible now, with all these false teaching and make it look like it's the worst place on earth. Yes. While when Babylon was being built, England was 12,000 years of illiteracy.
Yeah,
what the world, brother. I know England a dominate until I say, he want teach he want come teach I know things to say he's the educated one or she. What is that? Now me to ask you a $76 trillion question. Oh, I and I. Oh, get the Rastafarian sons and ayatas now to come to the higher standing, with them say the overstanding.
Yeah.
I've seen this capital city.
Yeah, I
and I go to that now.
By continue doing what we are doing right now. When I say God, Babylon, Zion, and all them things in my vocabulary again. In other words, I move from that level now for come say now, ancient Rasta where I used to trad with monks, never use them vocabulary there. And when I got town or hear Rasta talk, I hear them attack them way there. And I realize there's a Judeo-Christian mindset and put them in other way there. I say, the ancient say, of I and I from them time there, where reinterpret and reconfigure and reconstruct the whole thing. That is which part I had there. So when I say wicked, I prefer say Rome. I now go say Babylon.
All right, now.
That's how when I did just then, that's how my mindset did it 20 years ago.
That's why it's a master teacher, because most Rastafari sons and ayata is still scared to burn Rome.
Well, Rome, if you born, you're not to burn Babylon. That's what we used to say. Because with Judeo-Christian mindset.
It's where I come from. It's easier for them to burn Babylon.
Then you hear some Rasta say, them down in Egypt with the wicked. Like Egypt was a wicked.
You never see a documentary where I there Bobo Hill with the priest. Them I say, brother, the Pharaoh them, are great kings of the earth.
Gods.
Don't make the Caucasian Pharaoh that came after.
Yes.
And do the wickedness.
Make scared.
Ramesses and Imhotep and Tutankhamun and all these great men with eyes in the mathematics and the chemistry and the physics
Imhotep.
and the mathematics to be infinity to the infinitum, splitting to non-stop. It cannot stop when a man they do from that time. If Imhotep, a 50-year taking to get him doctorate, My bridge in Panama with knife up a way. It take him probably 5, 6, 7 years. But can you imagine a man getting back there in 50 years, brother? Can you imagine a man like that?
And I give him it, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I give him the bachelor, the degree.
I give him...
No, you. I give him, no, you.
Then you look... You can't prove that too,
Then I give... Hold on. I never usually do this, but for you, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make you hold on, and then I'm going to play that and come back. Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge, and I refer we have talked to a long time, Bridget. You know, I hear about from long time. Yeah.
Master teacher.
You remember one time when no advertisement never used to be on a program, huh?
Yeah.
Them load it up now, man. They load up.
Have to load it up.
Eh?
I'm more ask at 76 Street.
No, we didn't talk about something a while ago. You asked me how we going to get the rats them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You see, the thing is that it's an evolution process, you know. See, it just...
How we going to get them to see the great city of Mesopotamia and the mathematics and the...
Yeah, well, that me I say, it's an evolution that we start at one place and we are climb a ladder, you know. The signpost is not the destination, you know. It just to show you the destination. So we are climb a ladder, and some people they're on the first ladder, second ladder, third ladder. You know, it's a ladder. You know, none of them reach up on top of the house top yet.
So now, when we go ask, you know, when we now go to before we go to commercial, do I get the ganja license?
Get the what? No, I'm not search for no ganja license.
No, you're not search, but...
No, are you into that, you know? I'm not into the ganja license thing. But a man like you is a big ganja man supposed to get that license a long time.
No, I have my license. I'm here as a girl or a have him license. So
yeah, well, I have no license. I not look for it.
Huh?
I not search for no ganja license.
No, I know you're not search, but as a man who do so much work...
Yeah, but you see, my yeah, what now? I can tell you, I tell the whole world this already, you know. See, my thing about ganja, why I really advocate for ganja so much, I have seen so much of my brethren and my sister bleed for this thing here.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see it stop.
Yeah.
I want to see it stop. That is my fight for the ganja. My fight for ganja is to make Rasta use the ganja without any discrimination or persecution. That is my thing about ganja. But if a man want to make money and fight, make money. Suppose you want to draw me in. Suppose you want to draw me in to make money. Make money. But I personally know, no, me not reach this so yet. For go really say me go get license. Because when me go get a license for doing it. Me not keep no ganja thing. Me not keep nothing. Me not smoke herbs. You know them way there. If a man go do business, him get the business. Suppose Rebel want have a business and him want say Muta come in that business and me come in there. But my purpose is to make Rasta stop get persecuted for ganja. That is my thing.
Then isn't that happening right now? Rasta not get no persecution.
What? Where you talk about? Where you live?
Right now.
Where you live?
Right now.
But no matter what, Rasta that take a ganja and charge him for ganja said we. Not said we, but it still happen. It still happen, brethren.
So where I have to
Man I go a bingo with how much bag of ganja and police stop them and lock them up. When you're supposed to have the right to carry your ganja go a bingo.
So now, this is why I want to get to the eye now. Know that them say it free up.
Them never said that, you know. Nobody not said that. Nobody not said free up. Nobody never said free up, ganja free.
Then have dispensary all over the place now.
Eh? Where's that?
Eh?
Where's that?
Them have dispensary in a marketplace. Them have
Epican, no, that's not free up. That's not free up, you know. That's not free up.
Then what is it, man? Can walk in and buy
them decriminalize ganja, and you have to have a license, like what you say, for have things like Epican and Kaya Place and all these things will open up. Or if you keep a show, you have a license to keep the show where ganja can just free up inside of the show. But when you say free up, now it sounds like, say, boy, you can't smoke ganja like how you smoke cigarette.
Then the Rasta can smoke 2 ounces.
No, them say anybody, not longer rata, them say anybody can have 2 ounces.
2 ounces from them.
Yeah, if you have 3 ounces, you get prosecuted for it.
So,
and 5 plants, you must have 5 plants in your yard. Not must, but if you have 5 plants in your yard, if you have 6 plants, you get it's a joke business. You see, me talk to the Prime Minister about this Pan Rebel show, you know. Me say, Mr. Prime Minister, you see me, you know, me go start plant ganja. My 5 plant, where you say me must plant 5 ganja, but here one now. You see, the time me plant 1 ganja tree, it give me more than 2 ounces of ganja. So, me don't understand how that go work. If a man plant 5 plant and it give him all 5 pounds of ganja, and you come in and I come see me with 5 pounds of ganja, what you going to do?
Then that, I know if you make the tree give 10 pounds, I want
but that me I show you, but it no you see you can't go to jail for that.
Yeah, know.
So yeah, when you say free up, them go round this up for bring you back round this up. And that them I do them go you see them I tell you now how to plant ganja. Because them talk about medical ganja now.
Master teacher, Mr. Men and man poised to make billions while you still have races in the penal system and a whole heap of time still for 5 and 10 pounds what they had.
Well, I love if you go make some billions, you know, I mean you can go in some business separately.
No, it won't have to be separate. Why can't be together?
No, because we can't do another business other than ganja. Because you use the money to make ganja business. The ganja business that will come from the money. The money will come from the ganja business. So we're going to do another business where we can do something. We're not just in a ganja business the whole time. We can go plant some whole heap of food.
Then the farm where I start out. Ganja is a crop, but is the other crop to it and think about?
Well, that me I show you now. That me I show you.
At this and before you call that and all these things, it's not just ganja.
That me I talk about. That me I talk
Well, that is it. You want to 1 3 acre East Indian.
East Indian mango.
And 1 2 3 acre pine and all these things.
That we are talk about.
And you don't know, say, for the first time America open up to all the I goes to them call mangoes and all these things.
Yeah.
It's why I come. One time I do South America, full mango from America. When you see them bitter like Cersei. It's where I come from.
Yeah.
So I make a chant for all of the ones in the penal system, both Ballad and Rasta, who are do hard labor long time for the little herbs for them hard in those times when they say it's illegal.
And them man should get free out and it's free. Them should let them go. Any man in a jail for ganja right now should get let go.
Master teacher, know that men and man, and look on the men and man them now, where make the whole life paper right now. Those are the ones who used to frown.
Yes.
And chin up them face.
Yeah.
Pan the original man who used to fight and suffer hard for it, who some of them still in that prison at the hard time.
Yeah.
So I said, Mr. Holness, free up the races them and all who did go do hard time. The thing. And that's what I say.
But that me I say too. That's why I'm sure you say my purpose in dealing with this ganja thing is to do the exact thing what you are saying. That Rasta don't get persecuted for ganja. Because we go through all of that from the 50s, we have got through that. And we continue to go through it. This is the time now when, like how them make money and fight now, we supposed to free. To do whatsoever we want to do with the plant. Free whatsoever we want to do. Whether we want to sell it, whether we want to buy it, whether we want to smoke it, drink it, eat it, I just plant it and love look on it. That is what I talk about.
But like I said, that plant it and love look on it because that's a sight, you know. Now, I go bring in one of the chief backlash warrior now. Why I roll it from 94. Father Maui night.
Yes.
I hear him say something when him go check Rasbabi a Cranbrook a couple Sundays ago.
Yeah.
And him talk to Andrew.
Oh, yeah, up a Bobby place, yeah.
Yes, beautiful place. And him say, Raskabu Mahat Keru, that's the queen name, right?
Kabu Mahat, yes.
They put Nani front side, Nani Kabu Mahat Keru, right?
Yeah.
He must say, the Henry Ford family want to lease 50 acres in the Maroon land to grow hemp. But hemp now is more of the meal plant.
Yeah, I mix them and try and mix up the thing. I mix them and mix it up.
That travel 30 miles in less than an hour. And it's a problem now in Canada, why Canada have to grow the hemp underground. So once you touch above ground and start run, there's no more of the sacramental herbs.
Bastard, it becomes bastard.
It becomes maphrodite and becomes it spoil. Because the male a breed and can him breed 30 miles up, him continue going. And keep going till Jamaica, everything seed up. This where I come from.
It's like a gear thing. It's like a gear thing.
Yes, boy, that's easy. You see again. I quote Karamawi, you know.
We know, I tell you, it's like a gear thing. It's a gear thing. Never try to produce a gear herb.
No, this is where I come from. You hear me now, brother.
But we have to interject that.
Once again, them trying to set up the Maroon.
Yes.
Because if the Maroon allow the Henry Ford family to come grow hemp and spoil wagwan.
The real herb, the herb thing, yeah. We're going to talk to one of them tomorrow too. As you mentioned, that tomorrow, a little more from this, we're going to talk to one of them about it.
One of the Maroon man them?
Yeah, man.
Listen, that cannot happen because here Kadamawi I say. Once more the Maroon will be branded as traitors.
Traitors?
Yes.
And them still not apologize for what them doing at them time there yet.
You're expecting an apology, Master Teacher?
If I expect, me not expect nothing. Me say them still not apologize, me not expect it. Me say them not apologize yet. Me never say me not expect it.
Well, they should. That's a good point you bring up.
Yeah.
They should. But what may I say? This young man is brilliant. Because I never have a clue about that situation going on in Maroon land. This is where I come from.
Yes.
So, Maroon land always a listen the edge. And we are say, don't do it. You don't need to do that. Henry Ford have enough land and
but them get the money already. Them get the money already for do it, you know.
We are said to I. The money spent.
The money they have to do it. It's like when them have a radio station up there and appear gospel show there on the radio station.
Really?
Oh, really?
Look like I'm a Jamaica me there.
Them have a radio station up our compound, you know.
And I be a Jesus song.
I tell you, man, get away. Anyway, watch you know. You know, say. Me know, say, me should have give the time, and me give the time, you know. So I'm going to make you move, you know, and call back next week again. Because since you're there, you know, you say you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
But give thanks to the energy.
Yeah, man.
And as we say again, big up the gorilla.
Yes.
And go and blaze. So we have some work to do, and you don't know. No full time to do the plantation. It's it.
Give thanks.
Highly.
Yes. Yes. My brethren from a longer time. You know, by the way, some man in Africa, in South Africa asked me for you know, so them long time them not hear you. Yeah, Jesse Gender. Why you know Jesse Gender, man? Long time you don't hear for you, you know. Trust me, man. About that back and forth, me and him used to have on radio in the early days. Me I tell you. Jesse Gender, why you know say a cutting edge boss out there. A cutting edge boss, you know. How you do that? I tell you man, cutting edge boss Jesse Gender reach South Africa. Some man ask me for Jesse Gender in South Africa, you know. So all them now hear Jesse Gender, they will come back down there. Anyway, I saw it go. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. Yes, here a rumor going around that the black man still wants his own piece of ground. Mira Makiba from South Africa. This is when the apartheid system was in full force. And them tuna come out and guess what? Them banned that tuna in Jamaica, you know. You didn't know that? Yeah, man, them banned that tuna in Jamaica. As a matter of fact, any book where a black on the cover, it was banned. And that's what you last year of the day. Anybody ever hear about the Black Beauty? It was a horse. But that book was banned too. I think I drew I saw them things ago. But we survive. Like every other thing, we survive. We're not supposed to be there according to the law. And if Newton did have a lie, but that's the Newton law, we're not supposed to be there, man. With all what we got through, man, and still there, so, then all them are going to get through. Them now get rid of. Them can't get rid of it. And come like we are help them to get rid of it. And they say they don't come like we are help them to get rid of it. But the consciousness is what we are work with. Awakening the conscience and the consciousness of the people. Harriet Tubman say, I freed many as slaves and I could have freed more if only they knew they were slaves. Serious thing that. I freed many as slaves and I could have freed more if only they knew they were slaves. Yes, cutting edge. Yeah.
Ian Muta.
Mandingo. You know that somebody, I walked me for that idea. Somebody asked me last week and the weekend, last week, you know. Yeah, man.
You asked me.
Who asked me? No, I say I don't remember. I remember what I tell you.
Okay. Yeah, man. Just remember talking about the consciousness and Black Beauty and thing. Remember in those days of Kingston Technical when we had to hide and read the autobiography of Malcolm X and
tear off the cover.
Books like that.
Tear off the cover and put some little idiot cover upon it.
So I tell you,
yeah, man.
All Black Power by Stuart Carmichael known at the time and
Soul and Ice.
Another books like that.
Soul and Ice, Wretched of the Earth, Black Jacobin.
You know?
All them books they would have to tear out the cover them and put some other cover upon it.
Else, you know, and I feel give thanks to Marcus Garvey Jr., the physics teacher, and also Laxley Conway, you know, as teachers who promote the African stars, you know what I mean?
Start we have. Them start we have, man. Laxley Conway.
Yes. Yeah, man. That's the man, civil engineer.
Yeah.
Live on forever. And of course, Monday the 10th gone, made it 79 years since Marcus Garvey departed in the flesh.
Yes. 79 years, yes.
79 years, you know.
The 10th, it was the 10th, right? It was the 10th of June. It was the 10th of June.
Office nearby at 2 Bowman Crescent, West Kensington, you know, and thing. And, you know, I just, before I forget to, I just want, you know, for them Earth Strong, which Wednesday the 12th, a brethren from Wildman Street, ever, you know, Central Kingston, and also Bounty Killer, who's Earth Strong, 12th of June. See?
That yesterday. Yesterday, Bounty Killer birthday.
But, you know, I was watching the Malaysian president talking about a thing that you deal with all the while. About the Chinese imperialism thing, lend money and all kind of thing to try to come in and control, you know?
Yes. What I'm saying?
And he was saying the same thing that couple weeks ago I said on your program, and which you talk about all the while too. Like, for the Chinese, one of the things that the Chinese have, why them stop dealing with the Chinese, them want to come and build some new cities.
Right.
And people, with their people, and no sensible government in say, would allow another nation to come and build cities, to come populate in their own country to take over.
Police force.
I'm going to send you the video.
Yeah. But not the same Malaysian Prime Minister will say, if anybody can prove to him, say, God exists, he would have come after, he would have stopped the president. I know him, Malaysian.
It may be him, but when I send it to you, because I send it to you today, it might very well be. Because, he must say, because you see, a lot of people don't know. Malaysia had a problem from many years ago where the British did bring in enough Chinese.
Chinese, you know?
Just like how the British did bring in Indians to Fiji and and South Africa and Kenya and Uganda and that type of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Chinese did want to take over Malaysia, and there was some serious wars between the Chinese and the Malaysians in Malaysia. So them have that tradition where them are aware of Chinese coming in large numbers and wanting to take over. And up to the other day, you have some little Uncle Toms. Them was vexed that when I said on the program that you want no Chinese city in Kemanas area, in St. Catherine, because we know say that is to set up a business to populate the place with Chinese people coming in.
Hey, what, who vexed with you? Who you say vexed?
Marcus Garvey Jr. used to say.
Who you say vexed with you?
No, a sister was sending me, I think, say, some individual. There's an individual say in a comment say, you know, never like, oh, me not talk about, me no want a Chinese city in a Kemanas. Bill, you know, with the whole threat of Chinese imperialism and that type of thing, you know. So we say, we know business about that and thing, because we as African people have to ensure that no other non-African people, whether European or otherwise, come in to come re-enslave us under any guise.
Yeah.
No way at all. And I love what you talk about the so-called Maroons who do apologize, those who participated in selling out of our people, like when them do it Paul Bogle and Taki and others. You know what I mean?
Three Finger Jack.
Yes, and Three Finger Jack, who are Paul Bogle Parish there and that type of thing. So there is no way. The people them who, as you have said many times, no so-called Maroons came to Jamaica. Africans come to Jamaica, and Africans in Jamaica. And this word Maroon come from a Spanish word meaning wild cattle, wild cow. They call yourself that. See? And there is no way in which they must apologize officially to when some of their ancestors, because now all of them was sell out, did in selling out our people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's something we're grabbing with over the years.
I want the Jamaica Reggae Queens them win the match against Italy.
Today, right? Tomorrow, right? Tomorrow.
Yeah, man. I want them beat Mussolini, granddaughter, them, you know, because them shouldn't lose that match against Brazil, you know. It's down to three things. The Jamaica team could have beat Brazil, you know. The Reggae Queens, because I don't call them girls, you know.
Yeah.
Them have the ability and thing, but they need to be marking and tackling their opposition, and don't give the opposition no room.
No, you know, I can tell you.
Some of them must cut out the selfish thing where them don't want to pass the ball and I try to score from the
You might take part of something there now. We shouldn't play Brazil first, because you know. You know, Brazil have this long time thing where it's the greatest football, anyway, man or woman are the greatest football player in the world. For Jamaicans, go play Brazil, it's like it's in awe. It's like, you know, it's like, wow.
Yeah, I will pass that, but at the same time, you notice teams like the USA, France, and other things. The other teams that them not in nobody, you know, because
I know what I said. Jamaica.
The business, you know what I mean? And now to remember my brethren, Alan Skillcole, the greatest footballer Jamaica ever produced.
Definitely.
Brazil was number one.
Definitely.
As a football superpower in the world.
Yeah.
Alan Skillcole, my brethren, was the only Jamaican who played professional football in Brazil.
Yeah.
So great was he.
Yeah.
Alan Skillcole.
The greatest footballer ever in Jamaica.
Yeah, man. So we have to have that spirit, like a Marcus Garvey, a Alan Skillcole, a Usain Bolt, a Shelley and Fraser Finos, a Watcher. You know, business where you want born and grow. We from Jamaica are the best, and we are going to win this. This are the spirit.
I think them go for win still, you know. I never say them go. I think them go for win, you know.
to win because them have the potential, Muta. Me see it, man.
No, them go for win. Them go for win. But I tell you, say, it's like a man meet Bob Marley. Them like a little lad go meet Bob Marley. I say, wow.
Yeah.
And me and Bob Marley at shared stage. It's like. It's like,
Yeah, me know them. And likewise, some boxers where they admire Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
And then later in life, them go, and even though them admire him, them beat him.
Yeah. Come me in sometimes more people in army, when we woke up some people, they say, but
you see, when you're in the ring, when you're there on the field, to be a winner.
Yeah.
No, them
go for win.
Simple.
They were there to win, but you don't know it go. So we
that's the mindset. But when me I say, the way in which me say the woman them play, so far, them play better than how the man them did play in 1998.
Well, a man did not play a man at that time.
Yes, but true, and woman a play a woman. So all things being equal, them way there. But like the approach otherwise and the potential with them show on certain kinetic moves.
Them have to win Friday.
Really, a cheer for them tomorrow, I tell you.
Them have to win Friday, or else them gone.
Yes, them have to win Friday. Otherwise, them have to go take the boat or the ship home, and I don't want them come home yet. So that's why I will be cheering because I want them to beat the Italian Mussolini, granddaughter them.
Yeah.
You talk about Rome a while ago and thing. So I want to beat the granddaughters of Rome.
Of course. Definitely.
Yeah, man, definitely. And the virgin who you not talk to, one of the time is like him mention something about Africa name after some Roman.
No, him said that.
You have to correct him and make him no sound of so it go. Africanus is the title that he must give him. Because I saw the place coming from African word, Africa. Well, you know me talk about that already.
No, hold on, man, dingo. Talk slower. You talk about Jesse Gender and the word Africa and African.
Yes. I heard he had kind of started to say like it was named after
Africa is a European word. Is that
the Roman general named Scipio. And he was given the title Africanus because the word exists at that part in northern Africa. Africa, which is a native indigenous African word.
Yeah.
And it's something when we say, and as you know to Muta, all the word Ethiopia is coming from a Greek word, land of the burned faces. We know that back in the 60s in our studies.
Yeah, well, we hear about Al-Kabulan and we hear about Kemet.
Yes, true. Kemet, yes.
The black ones.
But where they misname Egypt, and Egypt is really a corruption by the Greeks due to them ignorance.
Yeah, just like really Ethiopia.
Coming from a word meaning the spiritual city after they create a Ptah. You know what I'm saying? And the Greeks never overstand that and call the place from which them get the word Egypt. But the name is Kemet, as you and I know, meaning land of the black people.
Black people land.
Also, yes, black people land, straight up. And what a sad thing going on in Mali, man, whereby at least 95 Dogon who practice our traditional African religions, men, women, and children were murdered. Some of them throat cut by the Fulani who are Muslims, jihadists and things, in central Mali. It's a state of emergency there now. But that war has been between those groups, the Fulani and the Dogon, has been going on for centuries because you find Africans who are Muslims, some of them practice warfare against Africans.
But that's the same in Nigeria, man.
African religion.
But that's the same in Nigeria too.
It's the same thing in Nigeria.
The Boko Haram people, them,
So, as you know too, it's not only the Christians them, but also some of the Muslims them who fight against we as Africans who practice our traditional African religions and when I hear you talk about the hemp sellout business there in the country there where them take money for him, the Ford Foundation thing.
Yeah.
Wrong thing that again is the next sellout that.
Yeah. I like the bridge,
you know?
Yeah,
man. And of course it is your duty which you're doing admirably to expose and educate our people to these kind of things, because if our people are not aware of what is going on, then them can join in and take steps to prevent them kind of betrayal and sellout of what we as a people have to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Definitely.
We have to move, you know. We have to move.
All right, blessed love and just go on with the work same way and never send the Malaysian video to the eye. Yeah, man. No Chinese settlement city in Jamaica.
And we get a little juju music too, because we are going to say it again, you know. All the church now fight against the Indian, them will come here. I do them what them call reading. And we have Obia so and them say not under God's son. Them are going to allow Obia to get legal on so. Well,